qual. All right, so let's continue with the reinforcement to the column. So when we designed the reinforcement for the beam, we created a cross-sectional view, and maybe similarly, we can just create this cross-sectional view for for the columns, so we can see the cross-section and add the detail. Let's try if it works. So let's go to the elevation plan, and that's how we think we can create that one. But we go to view and cross-sectional view. Unfortunately, we cannot, right? Because cross-sectional view can only create for this horizontal direction. We cannot cut a plan here and see through that. That is actually what? That is actually the level line. So instead of creating so-called cross-sectional view here, we need to create a new level for seeing the cross-sectional of the columns, right? So let me go to structure. And here we also have a level line, okay? So let me just go here and create a level line here, like this. And let's call this, structure column. Yes. So now I will have this new view and call the structure column detail. If I go to that, it's kind of like you're opening a new floor plan, right? And you definitely see, the detail of the column. So these are our columns, right? These are the caps, and these are the columns. So now we want to design the concrete columns. So first we want to change some of them to concrete columns. So let me just change this one to a concrete column. Once again, we don't have concrete column. So we're gonna go to insert, load family, and let's find the concrete column, okay? So let's see structural columns, concrete. Let me see. This rectangular should be good. So concrete rectangular. All right, so now let me go this one and change it to concrete rectangular, and let me see what we want to use. 18 by 18. Oh, we don't have 18 by 18. Okay, so let me select this one, and let me edit tab, and I want duplicate and say I want duplicate make one 18 by 18, and I can change everything to 18 by 18. All right, so now I have this 18 by 18 one, and I'm just going to remove that for now. Okay, so this is the one I probably want to change this one because we did the reinforcement for the beam here. So let me just change this to 18 by 18. Okay, so I just messed up my rebar, but that's okay. Let's fix that later. Okay, so now we have this column ready. Let's design for it. So number one thing we want to do is, once again, to make it more clear for us, we want to change this one, change the view scale. Let's change this to 1/4:1. Okay, so it looks like this. And I can change this to fun. So let's focus on this, all right? So number one thing, again, we want to define the cover for that. So let's go to structure and go to cover. And we can name this one, create a new one, and name it as rebar cover for column. And once again, we can use, maybe just use one, all right? Okay, so save the project. Okay, now I have this cover defined. Okay, so now let's pick the rebar we need. Can anybody tell me what the rebar looks like for concrete column? Do we have this like stirrups?
Yeah, we have the stirrups.
Yes, okay, so that's horizontal, right? And we also have the rebars at the corners. Make sense? So finally, it will form a shape similar to this. You guys can see my screen? So it's a cage. right? So a lot of times people don't do this on the job site. They basically just make the cage together and they have the formwork ready. They just put the cage in and then they pour the concrete, right? So that's actually a rebar cage. All right, so now let's go to structure and go to rebar. We have everything loaded. Let's pick the right one. Let me see, what is the one we want to use here? Rebar shape T1. So let's go find the rebar shape T1. This is the one, right? So let me select this one. What happened? Why is now showing me that like the a loop, a circle? Why is giving me this? Because we need to change this one to parallel to work plan. This is my current work plan. If I go here, it's basically perpendicular to my current work plan. So I want to change it to parallel. Now it looks good. So once again, you can also select where you want to tie. So I'm just tie it like this way. All right, and let me take a look at it in the 3D view. If we want to focus on this, what do we do? So we just select this one, and we just use this function. All right. So now let's go to the 3D view of it. It looks like this, like this. But let me change this to wireframe.
So Dr. Dew, for the individual project, how do we know how the reinforcement is going to go? How much is the foundation wall, etc.?
Once again, it's not showing in the drawing, so you just basically make something for yourself. Yes. We only see one, so something's wrong. Oh, this, I didn't change that. So let me just go max spacing. Okay. All right. So now we see this is how the cage look like. All right. And we also need the 4 rebars at the corners, correct? So let me go back to my structure column detail level. So I have the stirrups ready. Now let me find this rebar shape 00. So let me go to rebar and find this rebar shape 00. I think it's the first one. Okay, so once again, this is not direction 1. Where do I change? I change it to parallel to cover. So I basically put the 4 rebar here, 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 and here. And of course, you can just further, you can define, the diameters. Okay, so let me take a 3D view of that. That's how it looks like. Okay, so this is what we covered about structure today. Let me send it back. So let me go to my 3D view, and once here I uncheck the section box, I should have the entire structure. So it shows that we basically added the columns, we added the beams, we added the beam systems somewhere over there. We also added the caps, and we placed the reinforcement for the beam, and also placed the reinforcement for the column. And actually, you would ask, hey, we only did one. How about the others? Actually, if you go back to this structural plan, one thing you can do is just copy paste. Okay, so it's very easy. Just basically just Control C, and you can basically just place them. I'm just randomly place that here and know what's going on. So now I can place 2 units of that and just place 2 of them, somewhere. And that's actually how easy it is to create a repetitive structure, inside of Revit. Okay, so I guess we need to stop here today. I already gave you guys too much. Next week, similarly, we will cover the Revit lecture, and we will finish up the structure next week. Okay, so any question before we wrap up today's class?
I have a question about the assignment, a little bit off topic, but.
Okay, so you want to know more about the assignment?
It's basically about the scaling. I'm just not being able to do it. I have the 3 lines, but it just doesn't seem to work for me.
Okay, so did you follow the tutorial I shared with you guys?
Yeah, we have to, in the tutorial it says we have to draw like 3 lines, and then click on the first one, click on the second, on the third one, and then on the second one, and it should scale, but it just, I don't know.
It just didn't work on end. Okay, how about this? Since this is a very specific question, so let's talk about it offline. I can show you. I can share my screen and let's go into step by step.
Okay.
Okay. Other than this, other question from you guys? Anybody? Okay, if no, see you guys next week. And so whoever, sorry, I didn't notice who asking me that scaling question, but if you can stay here, let's talk about that.
What is this IFC thing on BIM?
Sorry, what's that?
What is this IFC?